Friends, how are you doing? It is November 24th and the market has a pulse again and it's live again, so this is fantastic. I hope everyone is well. Let's get right into it here, talking about BigBear, talking about Richtech. I want to get back into talking about Richtech because I'm still very much obsessed with Richtech and I'll explain why. But I hope everyone is ready for something special here. What could happen here in the last, essentially, what we got, four weeks left in the market. We'll just 5, 4, whatever we want. This week in the market, obviously, Thursday market's closed. Friday market opens back up, closes at 1 p.m. So it'll be a short day, and then this is gonna be a rough week for us because the market will be closed, and that's gonna suck. Undoubtedly, it's just gonna suck. So right now, what we're dealing with is that this is a completely turnaround again, where the market has completely shifted on news. Now we're hearing that, hey, potentially it looks like there is a better chance now. There's, Feds are talking that we're going to get a rate cut. With news, inflation stuff that's come out here recently, and there's more coming out this week. But it's so crazy to keep up with information on a daily, weekly basis of what is going on economically and what the Feds are going to do. This is one of those things where I don't know how much we're going to deal with this next year because, God love him, Jerome Powell will be gone in the beginning of next year. And this is not a political statement. This is just what's happening. He will be gone. His time is up. He's gone. He's going to Boca Raton, wherever he's going. Fed will appoint someone, and whoever that person is will essentially be a puppet. And I don't mean that to be mean. I just mean that as they're going to do what Trump wants. What does Trump want? He wants rate cuts. So that person's going to say, hey, we want rate cuts. There's not going to be any more of this no. I don't know that we'll have, these sinking spells that we've had this year with Jerome Powell, sinking the market is what I'm talking about, just in, a 2-minute span. I don't know that we'll have a Fed chairman doing that next year, or essentially from, how long they serve. So that will be nice, that it won't be someone sinking the market. It will be probably someone talking good about the market, and that will be a change of that would be a change of scenery here. So that would be nice. Friends, will Tom Lee get his 7,000 point S&P 100 stock market here? I don't know. We've been close. About 3-4 weeks ago, we're about 150 points away. Now we're about 300 points away. We'll see what happens here. If we do get this rate cut, this could be one of the biggest pushes we see in December in the stock market. And who are we to say this is not going to happen? This has been an amazing year in the market. This is where I really push back on this bear con. And I was saying this a month ago. I was saying this 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when all this stupid AI bubble conversation was being talked about. I got an argument with a friend about this. Not an argument, but just I don't believe in this AI bubble stuff. Yes, there will be something that pops maybe where, money may run out for some of them. They will reach a top of the mountain somewhere, but they'll start climbing another one. But, this is simply an economical issue / one guy sinking the market and these bankers saying stupid things that bleeds into the market. That's really what we've been dealing with. The AI companies have come out with aggressive quarterlies. All the MAG came out with great quarterlies. The bank stocks, even the stocks, the AI stocks that are not even in the MAG, they came out with great quarterlies here. And there's a lot of new rising AI stocks that are, holding a strong foundation of pushing up and making a name for themselves here. So I don't push into this theory of it's an AI bubble, there's gonna be a crash, all this kind of stuff. I'm just I don't have time for this. I really don't. I am pushing into the market. I really do think that we could go into potentially another aggressive market into next year. Now, there's already some analysts out there saying that they believe, the market, the S&P 500 particularly, could push into 7,500 range, in the middle of the year next year. That's really pushing the unknowns right now. Now, I am very optimistic. I am one of the most positive people you will probably find on YouTube. But, I am curious. I'm curious to see what we run into here in January and February in the market. That's going to be really interesting. So let's get into some conversation here. First, Nvidia. I talked about Nvidia a lot here, and I still think Nvidia is the right investment. It's a good place to be for investors. I definitely think in 2026, next year, we could see Nvidia easily hold this 180 to 190 into the year, but aggressively push into 200 and somewhere in the next year. If Nvidia went to $250, I don't think a lot of people would be shocked about that. I don't think there's a lot of people that know what's going on over at Nvidia and how the aggression is supposed to keep being aggressive over there. People are going like, I don't know about that. That's a bit steep, don't you think? No, I don't think it's steep at all. We're talking about a company by this time next year will be releasing, potentially, if they do what they are doing now and what they say they're going to do, what Jensen is proving to the world here, they're going to be coming out with $100 billion quarterly. So I think 250 is minimum of what we could see next, maybe in the middle of the year next year. So it depends what the market's going to be. It's hard to say. Let's talk about BigBear. Let's talk about Richtech. I'm still very excited about both these companies, and I'm really excited to see what is going to happen with these companies going into next year. I really, really am. So friends, let's get into it. So first of all, if you've been holding BigBear, you've been holding Richtech, you've been beat down, battered, tossed around, and the stocks have taken a beating, especially Richtech, because Richtech hasn't had as much positive deals and all this kind of stuff attached to it like BigBear. But BigBear, talking about BigBear particularly, this is a situation where I go, this is a great hold by BigBear, holding this $6 position. This is great. This is fantastic. So if you're in BigBear and you're like, man, what's this thing going to go to $10? I definitely think $10 can be a very realistic stock price for BigBear, but it's gonna come with a cost. It's gonna come with something's got to happen here, and that something is there's got to be some life-changing deal for BigBear where yes, they get the border security deal, whatever that looks like. They get a defense deal, essentially something with that, or they get a lot more of these airline deals to where they really start to show aggressive push on quarterlies here coming up. So I definitely think $10 will come down the pipeline here sooner than we think going into 2026. I think that's just kind of a given. BigBear is definitely getting more aggressive on quarterlies. It's getting a lot more aggressive on it's getting aggressive on quarterlies, saying that because it could be going the other way. It's holding this low $30 million range on quarterlies. We'll take it because this could have went the other way real fast. I am totally shocked that BigBear has continued nonstop this year to go after deals, come up with these very great, beautiful deals. The one thing that I like about what BigBear has been doing, they haven't been finding these random deals as like they're working with just random companies you've never heard with. There's a lot of companies out there that they'll get deals and they'll be like, hey, we're working with just some random company, Skippy Red, and you're like, what is Skippy Red? Who is? It's just some other crappy company, and you're like, this isn't that good. BigBear has been getting these airline deals, especially with well-known airlines, airports, and this is good money. This is good publicity. This is a good place to be for them. And two, the defense deals, and these obviously Kevin said in the memo with Q3s that came out here, like, hey, we're definitely expecting to get a border security deal. We're expecting more defense deals. We're expecting some things to come up here. That's essentially what he is saying. I mean, why else would he say that? Why would he say that? There's no reason to say that other than like they know something's coming here. I would look at this, and I've said this time and time again, but this is kind of where I'm handling this. If BigBear falls down to $4 to $5, I'm still buying because there will come a moment here where if they do get a border security deal, they do get a nice defense deal, well, there's your $10. There's your $8 to $10, maybe $12, $15 range, depending on how big the deal is. Then it could be too late because then mathematically quarterlies could really change on top of that. Now, obviously, we don't know what the price tag will be on a defense deal, you know, border security deal. And I'm kind of keeping those separate because, you know, it's easier to look at that way. But we don't know. These airline deals that Big Bear is getting, we don't know what they are financially because they're just private deals with private airlines that, you know, airports. That's totally fine. I keep saying airlines, but it's airports. You know what I mean? That's all right. That's all right. But one thing that is for sure, you know, Big Bear holding this, you know, $6, you know, this thing was last week $5.40, struggling to keep that. You know, and now it's, you know, almost doubled, almost $1 just in one day here. So, I mean, this is really, really good. There's going to be reports that come out here, and I don't know how the market's going to react to it. You know, I think we're seeing clear signs right now that the market is wanting to push. The market is wanting to push right now. And a lot of the analysts, you know, I was watching them today, even from Tom Lee, they're still pretty bullish on the fact that something still will take place here to, you know, push up the market. I mean, talk about the 11th hour here. Can you imagine if maybe this week or the first week of December, we really see the market start to push up here? You know, that, I mean, it'd be wild. We've seen crazier things happen this year. That's the whole thing. That's why when someone's, you know, bearish on this, I'm like, where have you been all year? Have you not seen what we went through in this market? That's totally crazy to say. The last deal here to happen with Big Bear was this Southwest Asia first AI-driven aerospace hub. This is great. I think we're going to hear more about this going in 2026. This is just more of Big Bear pushing in the right direction, 100%. So that's going to be fantastic. Friends, what I want to say about Big Bear, what can I say that I haven't said? I think the stock is obviously going to fluctuate from, you know, if it can hold this $5 range with this market that we've gone through here the past month, I feel really confident that we've secured $5. Okay, that's pretty good. That's really good. $6-7 really good days in the market, and if we can get a really good day in the market here, another push up, yeah, I think $7 will be around the bend here for swing traders. But you know, in the long term, next year is what I'm really, really excited about for Big Bear. And right now, anything under $7-8, I'm a buyer in Big Bear. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at right now because I think they're going to get more. I'm pretty sure they're going to get more deals here going into next year. I think that's a clear-cut road of what we're looking at right now with Big Bear. Now, Richtech. Poor widow Richtech here. We are back to September highs, okay? So, Richtech, this is a stock that was trailing almost at $8 back at the beginning of October, okay? Now the stock, along with the market, has, I mean, it went to a high $2 range last week, and I mean, it was just getting battered, just battered. Now, with Richtech here, I am very excited to see what this company can do next year, and for people that are like totally against this and just not on board with this, I get it. I get it. This is a very unique, futuristic, and I will admit this 100%. This is a toss of the coin investment because there's no solid ground right now that this is going to work. There is more solid ground with Big Bear than there is Richtech right now, and I fully admit that. So whether you're bearish or bullish on Richtech, I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm not saying that to prove a point. I'm not saying that to say like, hey, you're making a mistake by not buying this. I'm trying to say is that, you know, I really want to see two things next year. I want to see if Richtech can pull up with quarterlies, which I think they can because they just captured some deals over the summer here with them, and still, you know, just a month ago they pushed into some things. They're developing. They're doing good. They're getting out there. But most of all, what I want to see here from 2026 is what is the next theme in tech. There is no doubt we've gone from year over year themes in the market. Every year in the market, there's a theme. There just is. If you've gone through seasons in the market, you know that. You know, last year it was chips. This year it was chips, obviously too, but it was more software driven. And slowly, we've seen it kind of. You know, we've seen data centers really start to push and make more of a fuss here lately, and that's been really interesting. To the more Nvidia's talking about this a lot, and Nvidia's making a lot of money from this right now, and Amazon building loads of them, Applied Digital, but we're seeing that really that conversation get a lot louder. But I am curious to see if that keeps going, or here that robotics takes the the crown here. One thing that we're going to deal with here this year, whether people like it or not, is that robotics will come up here at some point this year, because Optimus is coming to market here. Optimus will be released. Now, how aggressive Optimus goes to the public, to private businesses, and Optimus, if you don't know, that is Tesla's robot, and we're going to see it be released, the first generation stage of it, and whatever it looks like, whatever it does, I don't know how. It really depends how it goes into the public eye, the zeitgeist, and pushing into the market. Could we be in a moment next year where robotics really takes a lot of the moment of the market? I think that's possible. I do. There's going to be somewhere down the line here with whichever market it is of whatever year, whether it's 2026, 2027, 2028, 2030, I don't know. But robotics is going to be a big conversation here. There's no doubt about it. It is coming whether people want it or not. You cannot stop what is going to happen here with robotics. I mean, all the big tech people are saying this, and it's obvious, and they're pushing it. They're spending tons of money in developing these robots. And Richtech here is such a unique situation because, these are service robots, and these are obviously going to be, this could be this is a whole new market. So this is why it's hard to say, like, is this going to be a company that's making $10 million quarterlies in 5 years? Are they going to be making $2 million quarterlies in 5 years? How aggressive, how fast does this take off? That's the real conversation here. But essentially what Richtech is trying to do here is, their robots, Adam, one of them particularly, and serving robots, ones that are serving people drinks, serving people food. And sadly, this could be the next big destroyer of jobs. I would definitely, I can imagine that Richtech will really push into where, fast food chains will adopt their robots. They could be in McDonald's in a few years. You think back on it just a few years ago when, do you remember when the screens came into like McDonald's, these other fast food chain places? People were freaking out. They were like, screens, you're taking away jobs. Well, if you think that was extreme, this is the next step. This is going to happen regardless. This is what they're making them for, and they're already using them in some places. So, get ready. And if this works, what is this? What is the revenue for a robotic company? What are we looking at here? We don't know. We've never seen it before. It's a whole new thing in the market. And when you have something like that, it gets expensive before it starts really generating loads of profit. So saying all that to say, like, hey, there could be a feeding frenzy on robotic stocks at some point in whatever stock market we're facing here, whether it's next year or the year after that, I don't know. But this is why I'm keeping a close eye on Richtech here and just kind of keeping some tucked away just in case here. Friends, I really do want to wish all of you best of luck. I really do mean that. I'm curious to see what we're going to deal with here this week in the market. I'm obviously hoping for greener grass here. I really am. And if we continue to hear about these rate cuts and they're going to happen, we should have a pretty good market ahead of us to end out the year. This could be our Christmas present right here, that we have a strong end to the market here. So friends, with all that said, take care of yourself. Bye everyone.